What's good? What's good? What's going on, good, beautiful folks? What's going on, good, beautiful folks? It's been a minute since I done did a live. What's going on with you, man? We here to commemorate. It's a beautiful occasion of mine. I've been on these Yambas. Shout out to Yamba, these folks out here with these 2-gram pre-rolls. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the Harvest Moon. The Harvest Moon tonight. If you've seen a Harvest Moon, man, she looking big and beautiful out there. If you had a chance to get out there, like that. If you had a chance to get out there and check out the Harvest Moon. Time for rejuvenation, balance. Yeah. Let me get this microphone. Balance, good energy. It's time to just like harvest. All the energy, everything you put out there, it's time to get it. If I can get this joint open, my hands is all. Yeah, yes, please. Thank you. Yeah. Shout out to everybody, man. I've been getting a lot of good shout out to Canopy. Shout out to the Canopy crew. I got three little dispensaries that I go to on a regular basis, at least once a week or so. Usually when I can't get with my peoples, I hit the dispensary. I just love going to the dispensaries.
Childproof.
I just love being a part of the legal market, period. For so years we've been being persecuted for smoking cannabis and using cannabis. I've been called everything from a crackhead to everything. Started smoking weed in 1993, getting arrested for weed, selling weed, taking risks for weed, you understand? Almost got killed for weed. All of these things, everything that happened when you make something illegal and people gotta, participate in the underworld and or the illicit market and or the black market or whatever have you to operate, so man, I just thank y'all for joining. It's been a long road, like I said, since 1993, being persecuted for cannabis. And now to have my whole little, to be able to have my foot in the door. You understand? What's up, Queen? Say what's up to the folks.
Good evening to all my wonderful people chiming in, checking in with you. So what's that on? What you got there?
So these is the King Palms. If anybody knows about the King Palms, so everybody out there trying to not smoke out of tobacco, King Palms, palm leaves is an alternative, This particular company, Yamna makes these, for all those folks, I just participate. I like the pre-roll game. Theory Wellness makes good pre-rolls too. Like I said, shout out to Canopy Crew. Shout out to Green for All. Shout out to Legal Greens. Those are the three little joints that's by my house. This is how, they by my house, so I go to them. I would like to start going to other, dispensaries and things and just, letting the industry know how everybody's doing. I just like participating in the industry, For years, people are still being persecuted for cannabis in other states, So it's just a shadow of things to come. For me myself, if you look at the title, it's called Cannabis Kingpin Connection. I'm not the big dog. I'm not the big homie. I hooked up with the big homies in cannabis, to start producing some things and everything. But like I said, it's just a shadow of things to come. Y'all gonna see me in New York. You're gonna see me in Georgia. You're gonna see me in any state I can get into and get a cannabis license and sell weed. You understand? Any state I can get into and sell weed, I'm gonna be selling weed. So in the next 5 years, I'm gonna be the cannabis kingpin out here. Shout out to everybody in Rev Clinics who noticed me, who said, "Hey, Moore, we want to do something with you. You know, what you thinking about?" And they listened to me. I say, "Hey, I want to do this." Congratulations to those folks at Rev Clinics. Rev Clinics respects equity. I want to do an equity show to help you guys out. We need to start shining a light on these cannabis companies that's actually doing equity. I don't know if this joint is timing out on IG. We need to start shining a light on these cannabis companies that's actually doing equity, because I see cannabis companies getting a lot of flack. The ones that's actually doing something, and the ones that's not doing nothing for the industry, for equity folks, nobody's saying nothing about it. I don't know why this IG keep coming out, but enjoy my spliff. Give me a second. This the big boy, the 2 gram. I believe pre-rolls is going to be the thing of the future. I can't wait to be able to open up. Why does this thing keep dinging out? I don't know if I'm doing something wrong in this YG or not. I think cannabis pre-rolls is going to be the future. It's nothing like being able to, open up a pack of already pre-rolled cigars, cigarette style. I'm 40 years old. I've been twisting up blunts for 20 plus years. I guess that's just the OG in me, you understand? But I like pre-rolls. I like grabbing pre-rolls. It's something sexy and special. Maybe we was envious and jealous of the people who smoke cigarettes and tobacco all these years. They was just able to open up a little box and just get to their stuff, I think America, creatures of comfort, we like things done for us. Anybody can go make a hamburger. Anybody can go, sew a garment. Anybody can do a lot of things, but do you do it? Nah, it's more easier than going to that fast food line or to go wherever you go. Even the grocery store, you skipping a step because you're not killing the cow. You understand? So I think as they remove steps, and we can trust individuals, companies to put good quality bud in cigars. When I find a company that's doing good quality stuff like Yamba, Theory Wellness, who else? Who is this? This was who is this? Whoever made this joint, White Nightmare. Who is this company? This was a good pre-roll too. But I like the future. I like the future of cannabis, legal cannabis, and I like equity. You understand me? Equity is a necessity in legal cannabis. I see a lot of states trying to open up without doing equity. And that's a travesty. And I know a lot of folks would agree, because in Massachusetts, in order to open up, they had to tell the citizens of Massachusetts, they say, hey, we're going to do equity. All those people who was mass incarcerated, victims of marijuana mass incarceration, we owe them. We're going to do equity. You understand? We're going to make sure they get into the industry in some ownership positions. We're going to make sure they get in the industry in a lot of different capacities. In Massachusetts, the industry was ran by 98% white folks, white men and women. You understand? So, it's a necessity. And I'm going to be an advocate for this. I have no choice but to be an advocate. This walked down my doorstep before I even was finished with puberty. You understand? My nuts ain't even dropped yet. And I was dealing with this war on drugs, this war on my skin color. You understand? 13-year-old little boy, I was abducted by police. You understand? Me and a handful of my friends beat up and everything. Shout out to my nigga Terry Brown. I think he was there, DP. Was you there? When we got beat up in the bathroom, and the cop threw Terry, we was 13-year-old children. Cops jumped on T in the bathroom, broke the stall with a 13-year-old, 14-year-old child, however old he was. But that was my introduction to this war on cannabis. You understand? At 13 years old and 14 years old, I got my first cannabis arrest. I was charged with sale to a minor. So on record, I have from 1994 experience selling cannabis. So how come when black folks get to the cannabis industry now, everybody want to give us a class on how to sell cannabis, on how to grow cannabis? I've been growing cannabis, selling cannabis, hustling cannabis, delivering cannabis, product manufacturing cannabis. You understand? Shipping cannabis, everything with cannabis. But now they was, we want to teach you how to deal with cannabis. These white folks who supposedly didn't have nothing to do with cannabis until recently, right? Until it got legal. How they experts? How all these white folks experts on cannabis and they ain't had nothing to do with cannabis? And I'm not an expert. I've been doing this since the 90s, baby. You understand? So when you see me get in, that's a real one that got in. You understand? I don't think nothing could have stopped me from getting in, but I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you it's been easy loving cannabis and dealing with cannabis and you know, being about that life, you know, that cannabis cowboy life. You understand? It was not too long ago in 2016, I was sitting in handcuffs feeling like a failure. You understand? Because I lost some major money. You understand? And got arrested. You understand me? You know, and they still got I was able to beat that charge and they still got my products. They still got my stuff. You understand me? So these are investments folks made before it was legal, before it was popular. And, you know, these folks have a right to be in the industry. You know, equity programs to me should start by anybody with a cannabis arrest. Anybody and everybody with a cannabis arrest. You ain't got to say black or brown. You ain't got to say black or brown. The numbers will do it. This way, white folks will get in, Asian folks, Indian folks, but just those Asian, Indian, white, black, whoever who actually had direct arrest from cannabis. But when you're talking about cannabis mass incarceration, you're talking about deeper than just, you know, when you're talking about mass incarceration, period, whether it be cannabis or whatever other drug or just, you know, all these victimless crimes, you're talking about black and brown folks. You understand me? But there's a specific way you can deal with cannabis. You understand me? Because we got arrested. So I think it'll even out and level out if you deal with the arrest. If you deal with the arrest of folks who was dealing with it. But see, one of the things that people don't understand that we also had to deal with is you talking about how you get the American people and government to attack black folks and brown folks. How you do that? How you get them to dehumanize us? TV, the school systems, all of these things. You understand me? The war on drugs, it begins well before, you know, a black boy becomes a man or a black person. Black woman also becomes a lady, a woman. Black girl becomes a woman. You understand me? If you read about the school to prison pipeline, they said by the time you in the third grade, they can tell whether you're going to prison. So you talking about you had to start with the school systems. You had to teach me and teach everybody else that I wasn't nothing, that everybody black or brown came from some third world subservient type of country, and everybody white came from, you know, a more respectable type of place. And, you know, everybody black, we had no culture. We weren't reading or writing until we met white folks. That's a lie. That's a lie. But this is where the war on drugs starts from, folks. Nobody want to talk about it. Where's the root of it? Do you really want to get rid of mass incarceration? Because if you're talking about getting rid of mass incarceration, you're talking about going to the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is our school systems. You understand me? Our school systems. I wasn't given an opportunity, and none of these children are given an opportunity to love themselves, to study something that edifies themselves. Would I want to sit up there and listen about white folks all day and how great white folks was? And in the same breath, in the same sentence, you telling me how less than I was and I wasn't nothing until I met white folks. What I want to do, why I want to sit around and hear that all day. So to me, you know, I'm just from, you know, hindsight is 2020. I'm just looking back on my experience in the American education. And to me, I think that was my biggest turnoff. I think that's what forced me out into the streets. I think that's what made me into a thug nigga or a street nigga. You understand me? You gave me I didn't have no history. You understand me? You robbed me. You robbed a child of his history. I love books. I love information. You couldn't tell that from school. from when I was in school and I couldn't barely read. I'm still sounding out words when I was in my 20s. You understand? I was a functional reader. You understand? Because none of the information as a child edified me. And on top of that, America, how long are we going to allow school systems to declare children failures? How long? How long are we going to say children are failures? You understand? You know, because you ain't never been no failure. I've been a failure in every grade. You understand? So, and now as a 40-something-year-old man, I'm looking back like, was that treatment wasn't humane? And I'm seeing all the different avenues you have in life, and they trying to make it seem like you only got one avenue in life. Sports saved my life. I think sports, you know, because that was the part of the tribalism I was allowed to keep. I'm a warrior. You understand? And, you know, I like, you know, a man being able to handle his business, you know, in a physical way if he needs to. You understand me? If another man agrees to fight another man, I think that should be allowed. You understand? I think we're missing some of that, you know, in other countries, you know. I'm fascinated by this shit. I see it in other countries. You know, you got these white families, you got entire families going out to have fist fights and shit. If they got an argument, they got an agreement, disagreement. Hey, you want to fight Tommy Boy? Yo, Tommy Boy, what'd you say about my uncle? Okay, let's meet at the spot. And they all come with the video cameras. And to me, I think that would settle a lot of stuff with a lot of individuals. The tribalism aspect, there's no place for us.
Not at all.
There's no place for us. I think there's no place
for those in power tend to be the ones that wouldn't be able to handle that physical.
I don't think so. People with power can hire fighters.
Would you see they gotta hire them?
That's whatever. I mean, imagine that. Imagine people in power hiring fighters, and then you got the poorest families in America still having the best fighters. You know, I think it's a way of release, a social release, and everything else like that. You know, who said everything? Nothing's fair. Ain't nothing fair.
It's morphed into what we call sports.
Yeah,
it's morphed into that.
But that's why I said with the sports saved me, because it was a form of tribalism. My sports have always been fighting sports: wrestling, taekwondo, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, kickboxing, and I might start this karate. I might start doing karate with my son.
You're gonna have to.
Yeah, you start doing. I love starting over from zero. I love learning something new. So when I go to a different style like karate, I ain't never did karate. I get to start from a white belt, you know, and then I start from there. Even though my skill is probably that of a black belt, you know, in karate, and I black belt. I would be considered a black belt in wrestling, you know, collegiate style, Olympic style, Greco-Roman style wrestling. You know, it's really dope to really, when I did kickboxing, I start from square one. I do all these other sports. Taekwondo, I start from white belt, start from square one. So I love that about, I like being able to start from the beginning, start from square one as a student. You understand? So being a student of this industry, this cannabis industry, you know, it's totally a different thing, man, a different animal. It's a privilege to be in this industry, to be able to make money off of legal cannabis. It's a privilege. You know, there's so much more that needs to be opened up. You know, I've been involved in other markets. I've been in California. You understand? In California, got this thing called, you know, it's like a Weekend Warriors license. It's called a merchant's license. They got a cannabis. California got this thing called a merchant's license. And on the weekend, you pay your little whatever money, and you're able to sell cannabis at a specific venue one time, or if that venue is like a 3-day venue or something like that, but you're able to go out there. They have these little venues right now in Massachusetts, these little underground venues, but it would allow everybody who participate in these underground venues to pay taxes. That's it. Just let us pay our taxes. You know what I'm saying? I'm speaking for those in the illicit market. I don't touch nothing illegal no more myself, because, you know, I just got my ass kicked so much doing the illegal aspect of it. You know, it's just not worth it. You understand me? For me, you understand me? But for those of y'all who might not have the experience of getting arrested or You know, you just got you still out there thugging and bugging. I speak on behalf of you. You understand me? There needs to be some type of weekend warrior licenses for those folks who want to pay their taxes and sell cannabis. You understand? So but what else, baby? What we talking about? What I'm talking about?
I thought you were doing an interesting job tying the war on drugs and some of the root causes and the root.
I forgot. I forgot. I'll take it everywhere. If I sit here and smoke enough, I'll talk about everything.
You took it from there to sporting. I think one of the things you're highlighting right now, especially since you kicked it off talking about the full moon and just kind of this time of abundance and the opportunity that the cannabis industry is affording many, but at the same time, it's still missing the mark when it comes to the war on drugs. But that's always my wheelhouse too. So I'll steer you there.
Well, first of all, everybody ain't an entrepreneur. Everybody who got arrested for weed ain't an entrepreneur. You understand me?
And the other piece is a difference between folks who got arrested 20, 30 years ago versus those who got arrested 5, 6 years ago or still are getting arrested now. It's a different class of experience in terms of how they have to navigate life. If your first encounter in terms of marijuana mass incarceration was within the last 5 years, this to say to you that they'll expunge that record may mean something to you. But if you had to navigate life for 25, 30, 40 years with that record already, with that target on your back, the premium, the price to pay is higher. You can't just come in and say, oh, we opened up, it's legal now. Not when you're still arresting folks, not when it's still criminal.
Well, and it's different, man. At what point do we stop and ask folks what do they want? You talking about a victim of a crime, the war on drugs. Y'all call this shit a war. You treated it like a war. You put billions of dollars in this war annually. You understand? And now when it comes time to repair the victims of this war, you don't think it's going to take billions of dollars to repair us annually? You understand? Yo, dude, it's straight criminal. Marijuana, cannabis is a Schedule 1 drug, dude. Schedule 1 drug. That's real time. That's a real charge. I had that charge as a child. Sale to a minor. That's what I had. Schedule 1 sale to a minor. You understand? What do you owe us? You understand? How about we start with an ounce every month or an ounce every week? How about we start with certain things and shit? Like, this ain't going to take, you ain't going to repair this in a year. How many decades have you been waging this war against citizens under the guise of criminality? You know what I'm saying? And it was our skin color. So then you got to go to the news. You got to go to all the TV programming. Like you talking about the silver screen and the big screen. You understand? When Hitler wanted to do what he did to Jews, he started with the slandering campaign. He had to dehumanize them. He had to dehumanize them publicly. He had to convince people that they were subservient and less than human. So that's what you're talking about. So even folks, black and brown folks who ain't been arrested, they experienced the war on drugs. They experienced mass incarceration because they got to be looked at in a certain way by society. They got to look at themselves in a certain way. You understand? A lot of these black folks, who don't smoke weed, who didn't smoke weed, they really have a negative connotation toward other black folks who do smoke weed. So you talking about that divide and conquer and shit. Niggas versus, good black folks. You understand me? This is how they had us. If you smoke weed, you was a thug. You was a nigga, a street nigga. If you didn't smoke weed, you was a good, upstanding black person. You understand me? So you had this divide and conquer stuff. You understand me? All of these things behind this stuff. And it was really a war on my skin color. You understand? When you're talking about war on drugs, they're not just talking about illicit substances. They had to criminalize Everything Black folks did. You understand? So since we released ourselves and freed ourselves from slavery, we've been the drug that they've been having a war on. You understand me? We got to talk about this shit because present day white folks, what y'all gonna do about it? Y'all gonna carry on for your forefather stuff? Or are we gonna do something new with this generation? Because y'all so advanced and so upward mobile and thinking and all this other stuff. Why are we holding on to the old crusty white supremacy, Jim Crow way? Systems. You think I'm gonna sit up here and let you pass that down to my children and not say nothing? And the reason why most Black folks is sitting up there like that is because they have been conditioned. There's not one Black person in America who went to American public school or private school or just ever turned on the TV who didn't experience white supremacy. We experience it everywhere. That's why I'm scratching my head when they say Black folks is racist. How? We study. It's impossible. You have to be living under a rock to be a racist Black person. You could be a hateful Black person and hate white folks. You can hate whoever you want to. That's your prerogative. You understand me? But to be racist is to be able to subject people to your way of thinking and believing. And the only people who ever been able to do that is white folks. Everybody who come to America is subject. I'm born and raised here, so I'm just telling you what I heard. You understand me? I don't know how they might do it in their country, but when they come to America, you subject to that white supremacy. You go to that American public school. You understand me? And all these other things, you know. That's why we have to really look and think about what segregation was and desegregation was to the Black community. And why did we desegregate? You understand me? We did it under threat. You know, when you really study our history of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black folks had these thriving, bustle cities everywhere. Florida, we had places where we had entire Black cities and we were doing import export with people from out the country. We had our own trade routes. We had our own transportation systems, own sports teams, own, you know, movie theaters, own everything. We had everything.
They only tell us about our league, the sports league. They don't talk about all the other industries.
Inventions, all of the other industries. You see, that's all of the other industries. If we only had 3 or 4 industries, that would be more than we had now, because Black folks don't control no industry. In segregation, we actually controlled industries. You understand me? This whole social equity thing is about us asking white folks to let us in the industry. You understand me? Period. You understand? Let us in the industry, because we don't control it and we won't ever control it. We just want to be able to participate in it. But as far as any industry, we don't control no industry in America. Black folks. You understand me? That's why I think this social equity, I know this social equity and economic empowerment thing is a powerful thing. It's not time to get around with folks who ain't trying to push you forward into this. You understand? It's not time to be anti-capitalist. You ain't anti-capitalist nowhere, Black folks. But when they talk about equity and equity opportunity, now we anti-capitalist. We don't have that luxury. We ain't got that luxury to be sitting up there talking some anti-capitalist, to be do-gooders or to be activists. You can't be no activist when you on survival every day. When your mind is on survival every day, how you an activist? Activist is for people who mind ain't on survival every day. They trying to free everybody. You understand? Because they have the luxury. Their mind ain't on survival. But when you've been poor and you got kids to feed and a family and your mind is on survival and working 60, 80, 90 hours a week, you ain't got no time to be an activist. You know, the victim of your situation, okay, cool, and keep it moving. You understand me? So that's just what you had to go through. And, people who going through this traumatic stress of white supremacy, it's just something that you normalize. You understand me? You normalize it and go on with your life. What you supposed to do? You understand? What are you supposed to do? You can document it. You can intellectualize it. I like to document. I like to write. You understand me? In a society where everybody says we are upward mobile, we are smart. I love it because, my life, I've been considered the a lot of different things, the jock, the dumb jock, the thug, dumb street thug, but as I sit here in this position of relevancy, in politics, more relevant than I ever been in my life. And that's not just me. That's all victims of marijuana mass incarceration. As we sit here more relevant than we ever been in life, and you come to these folks who's supposed to be wanting to do something about it, and they turn into monsters. And then you question yourself, damn, I thought I was the uncivil one. My whole life, I've been told I was the street thug monster, the uncivil. But when you come here for civility, you like, well, damn, the streets is here more in the politics. The streets is more in the business world. The streets is more here on this side than ever before. Do you understand? So I'm looking for where all the intellect is at. All this intellect that I've been told my whole life existed in this forward thinking society that I just wasn't smart enough to understand. Because now here I am intellectualizing it. And now everybody is, turning to these, Neanderthals. You understand? When I intellectualize it, then they want to get on some, some really backwards thinking shit that was only supposed to be, something that was reserved for, people outside of, a college education and outside of politics and outside of running the free world, So I like to document, said all I have to say, I document. And then, either change happens or 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now, when they look back and they reading about our society and they're looking down about the type of mentality folk have during this society and how people were treated so indifferently because of their skin color, they'll see, oh, here, look at this black man wrote this. This black individual or this individual of whatever nationality wrote this. You understand me? And it allows the future to see people in the past, which is our present, that we wasn't all, backwards thinking. You understand? Even though black folks was going along with this was our thoughts on what was happening around us. And I think that's important. I think it's important to document. It's so important. I was reading a book, The Miseducation of the Negro, 1947. Let me explain something to you. It's an old book, but I was so beside myself to understand. And I was so proud, titillated. I was confronted with the fact that we wasn't on another level higher than our ancestors. This brother, read The Miseducation of the Negro. This brother sound like he talking about today. And this book was in 1933. So we tend to, because every generation, they teach us that our ancestors wasn't nothing. You got these college kids right now swearing up and down like they the first one to have a black business, or they the first one to do these things. And, believe it or not, America, the most affluent, the most successful ethnic group in America till this day was black folks. We had our own hospitals. We had everything. You understand me? We had our own towns. We had a way to create revenue without absent of America. So what happened was these white militias would go into these black towns and kill folks. They got it. It's The Watchmen. Mm-hmm. They got this show on
Regina King.
Yeah, Regina King. The Watchmen. Go check that out. But it was how they attacked this black town, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and that was affluent and such. But we had these things going on for ourselves. You understand me? Now what industries do we control? So now we have to have a whole nother conversation, America. You understand? We have to have a whole nother conversation about what you expect from us and where do we go from here. You understand me? I don't think it's time for black folks to be sitting here around playing dumb and not having real talk. Why? Ain't nobody gonna kill you. Ain't nobody gonna hang you. They used to kill us for stepping on a white man's shadow. You couldn't walk on a white man's shadow. And some of y'all scared to talk. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't look a white man in the eye. And I see, and it's so disheartening when I see, adults act like that. You understand me? It's so disheartening. I could imagine, like, that type of behavior and treatment was mandated. Everybody deserved to have self-respect. You understand? So I enjoy speaking up. I feel like I'm doing my ancestors proud, you understand, by telling how it is, speaking what's on my mind. Let's finish this. Let's smoke.
That was a slow burn, that's why.
Yeah, this is, mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so like I was saying, I smoke these. It's just about what you do, how you do it. These was $45. The Yamba joint is $45 in the joint. The Yamba. I want to call it Yamba. The Yamna, it was $45 at the cannabis plus tax. Came out to probably like $50-something, $52 or something like that. That's equivalent to about $25 a gram. It's about what you're gonna spend on a joint. See, this is a 0.7, and this was $20. White Nightmare. This was lit too. So it just depends on what you want. I've spent over $100 on a cigar that didn't have no weed in it. The fake Cuban cigars. That was a fake Cuban cigar. I wonder how much the real Cubans be costing. But just to celebrate and commemorate, you buy these specialty cigars. You understand me? So. Yep. Yeah, you buy what you like, and special occasion. Shout out to everybody doing good fucking pre-rolls and making big pre-rolls so people can celebrate when they want to celebrate. Got a nice fancy package in the joint, some wax tip.
Massachusetts regulations got those prices so high.
Yeah. I don't think it's so. It's.
Yeah, do the math. Break it down.
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. It's comparable to the streets right now. The street prices went up. You understand me? I bought 14 grams for $90 in the dispensary. I bought a half ounce for $90 at where did I do? I think it was at Canopy. I bought a half ounce of shake for $90. Let me explain something to you. When I was selling bud, all of the crumbs at the bottom of the pound, that's all I smoked was shake. I didn't smoke the bud. I smoked the shake. The shake is the crumble at the bottom of the pounds. And what I used to do is, you get 3-4 different pounds and you just mix the shake up. And you smoke the shake. And the shake be hitting. California shake packs, they call them budget packs in Cali. And then also you can get them in Colorado also. And they're less than $10 a gram or $10 a gram or something like that, taxes or whatever. But yeah, shakes. So I bought 14 grams of shake for $90 in the dispensary. 14 grams for $90, a half ounce. So it just depends on how you shop and in the dispensaries. You go get a gram on the streets is going to be $20. If anybody's going to sell you a gram should be like $10. Like even if you get an eighth, which is 3.5, the streets ain't selling you no eighths no more too much. The top shelf eighths you can't get for $35 no more. You understand? They're not selling to you for 10 a gram. You spending $50, $60 for an eighth or even more, $100 for an eighth in the streets. Streets prices went up. So it's comparable. Certain times I run to this, usually like 8 o'clock in the morning. Like I be dry. I'm always, we go through this period of I'm dry, so I need to get some bud. 8 o'clock in the morning, the streets ain't open, but Green for All be open at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I hit Green for All up. I think I forget. I think in Cali they had some late night spots or maybe some 24-hour spots. I think just late night spots. I don't think they was 24 hours, but they had some late night dispensary spots in Cali or rec spots, that stay open late. I don't know about Massachusetts, how late they stay open too much. You understand me? I just know sometimes when I get up early in the morning, Sunday morning, Saturday morning.
Say 9:00 unless the town has a time that supersedes that. So I think there may be some towns that stay as open late as 10 p.m. I think so, but you're not finding anybody open at midnight. So
yeah, I think so. Cali, I think they got like the 2:00 in the morning spots, 3:00. I know it's been a minute. Don't quote me on this, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions?
Yeah, folks having their own conversation out here.
Price of what? Price of the weed?
Oh yeah, that's what he was talking about, the price of the weed, and then the fact that the street costs went up because of the dispensaries, and not just the dispensary. And it's not just because of the dispensaries, also just the whole movement with legalization. Now the dispensaries have a vested interest in ensuring that the traditional market is eliminated. So when they talk about working with the police task force and so forth,
who said that?
That was one of the measures in. They haven't talked about it recently in terms of the commissioners, but when they were talking about legalization and so forth, that's one of the measures that they're talking about, and a lot of the funding.
I think it stopped. Did it stop here? I think this should stop. Yeah, that's you absolutely right, but that's why I asked you who said it, because that's exactly what they're doing in California. Yeah, I think IG stopped. That's exactly what they're doing in California. The store owners is calling the police, and the task force and the store and the undercover agents and all types of shit, because they telling the store owners your bottom line is because of the streets or whatever have you. But it's balanced. I would hope Massachusetts ain't looking to do that to the illicit market after you talking about, I'm sorry for doing this to you for all this many years.
Still on? Matter of fact, they was looking at your table.
I'm sorry for doing this to you for all this many years, but let's get a task force to continue to arrest you. You can't say sorry but not sorry. So I think it's so disingenuous for you to say let's go legal, but then have a task force. And if you the ACLU report said that the arrest rate for Black and brown people increased during legalization. Colorado, 50% increase of arrests for Black and brown people during legalization. So it ain't over. As long as our skin color is the drug, that's what it's going to be. You understand? It's not over. I'm super smacked. I'm super smacked with y'all, man. We ain't even halfway through.
Yeah, you got a couple folks came through, show them love, say what's up. And I think someone disagreed with something that you said. But
about what?
I wanted to chime in and
I didn't tell me because I can't see the question.
Oh, the question was, no, the comment was, if someone's hating, then that is racism. But then you had someone else come in and say that's not racism, that's prejudice. There's no power tied to it. So I think
all these little words, racism, prejudice, civil rights, they all hide. The underlying fact is white supremacy. White supremacy can exist without racism. It can exist without hate. You don't have to hate a child to drug him with white supremacy every day. You understand me? And it's just not fair to Black and brown folks in this country. How long are we going to operate like this? And especially when we do the fact checking on all that bullshit you taught us in school, it's not true. You understand me? So racism, white supremacy, civility, equity, social equity,
civil rights,
all these things they just new words that they putting on top of white supremacy. You understand me? You're subjugating people to white supremacy, and then you're treating people unfairly because of their skin color. Period. You understand me? You in a demon. I made it sound simple, but it's actually in a demon to the point where you're talking about people are living in genocidal conditions, dude. This was a real war. This was a real war. The fact that you got black folks walking around who are wealthy in America, who are upstanding, doing major things in America, that's powerful. That speaks to our power. When you look at me, you're looking at a survivor. You understand me? A survivor, dude. You know how many black men like me ain't here? You understand? Because of white supremacy, because they killing us, because of our skin color. You understand? So you looking at a survivor. You're not looking at something. You see a black man, you're looking at something that, and it's a shame that when you see some of us, trauma do a lot of different things. People relate to trauma, respond to trauma in so many different ways. Some people are broke back. They don't have no courage. You done took their self-worth. You understand? Me, I triggered, dude. I believe that the ancestors protect me, dude, because I'm so, my trauma, you can't fuck with me. Nobody can. You understand? Period. You understand me? It either make you or break you. You understand? It either make you into something so real and so hard. You talking about when police was doing this to me, I was a little child. Can't no police come up to me and treat me like how they treated me like when I was a boy. You understand me? So you understand me? My shit got me on war mode. My experience with this thing has me in a different aggressive way. And the only reason why I know that is because that's what people say. It's normal for me. It's been normalized, and I have outlets. I have mixed martial arts. You work out, you train, you do whatever you do, but you don't, it's normal to you. So
this is
when you talking about child soldiers, you talking about child soldiers, America, it's right here, baby. It's right here. We don't gotta go overseas. When you talking about when you putting guns in children's faces and locking them up in cages and beating them up and pushing them out into the streets and relegating them to poverty, and you talking about child soldiers, it's right here. We got it all right here. We got it all right here. And the first thing they want to say, oh, you're a victim. You're being a victim. I'm not being no victim. You understand me? It's people with trauma, they normalize it. It's people around them who's telling them, hey, you acting a little different. You shouldn't do that. Why are you like that? How come you know that? It's just all these questions you get flooded with from people from the outside looking in for years. And then you meet somebody who might be a doctor or some shit and be like, okay, is there, it maybe might bring something to your realization, or you read some information.
Come across information
that might bring it.
And that's something when they talk about the war on drugs and folks want to talk about, oh, well, we're doing this to ameliorate it, but never even getting at the trauma that's been created, never addressing the trauma. And you can throw solutions of money, whatever, at symptoms to say that, oh, you're addressing it. But if you don't dig into the trauma so that you can get to the heart and the root, you're not really doing anything. It's a different type of war. The war is taken on. It's no longer physical warfare. It's morphed into psychological warfare.
I think, and it's an attempt to discredit. You understand me? Because now you have this demarker in time where America said, hey, yo, we took care of the people of the victims of war on drugs. Look, we gave you expungements. Let's move on, America. You understand? And then you move on. You never addressed us. You never even heard from us. You never listened to us. You never even got to be a part of the conversation. Here it is. This social equity program opened up, and I'm looking around, and it's not folks like me in the program. And then the audacity of me to actually have an opinion about my own program that I'm in, I get attacked. I got attacked by Shailene and Grant. The fuck do they know about social equity? They ain't been through. They ain't lived this shit. They're not arresting Indian children. They're not arresting Indian boys and little girls and tormenting Indian children and mass incarcerating Indian children or white children. They're not doing that to white children. But when you talking about leading on the equity, they got Shailene and Grant and all these other folks. And that's cool. You can have them on there. But when a black man speaks up or a black woman speaks up who actually went through it, these folks have the power to discredit. Fucking absurd. And it's a joke. You can never discredit me. You understand? Never. You ain't been through my life. You ain't lived my lifestyle. And you can stop telling me that you care about me, because none of y'all was there when I was getting locked up. None of y'all was there when we was getting locked up. You got the privilege to get up talking about you're going to be an activist. What a privilege. You understand me? But that's fine. Be the activist. But you showed your true colors when a real one spoke up, when I spoke up, and you attacked me and you sent everybody who you think you could send at me to attack me. Try to threatening my business dealings, telling people not to deal with me on a business level in this industry. How dare you? I'm in the equity program. You understand? How dare you? You don't stand for equity. If you stood for equity, you would have supported somebody like myself. I wrote a book about my lifestyle and what I went through. And the whole equity program was about my lifestyle. You opened up cannabis on my lifestyle, telling people that, oh, we doing this for the victims of cannabis mass incarceration. But as soon as we come up and come around, what you looking for, a handout? They laid that shit on so thick so they could get open and get legal. And once they got open and got legal, it was fuck equity. Period. Do you understand me? I'm so thankful, you understand me, of companies like Rev Clinics who doing equity. They got an equity roster. They didn't have Rev didn't have to do nothing with me. They already got equity folks they dealing with. If every company in Massachusetts was doing what Rev was doing, which was take equity serious, back people, back us in the equity program, you ain't got companies doing nothing. But people in the equity program, these leaders of equity got the nerve to open their mouths on company that's doing equity, but don't say nothing about these other companies that's not doing nothing. Nobody perfect, including me. You understand? But the whole charge was equity. And I think they understood the assignment. Rev Clinics understood the assignment. Now, what about these other companies who don't understand the assignment? They giving money to dogs. They giving money to saving the trees. They giving money to all types of other stuff, but the victims of marijuana mass incarceration, the victims of this war. So I think we need to celebrate companies that understand the assignment, and we need to shine on light on companies that don't. And I don't understand how anybody in equity could disagree with that. How you in equity and disagree with that? Use all that power influence to talk about companies that don't understand the assignment.
They set the bar real low the way that they the standards they have here in Massachusetts.
Because they don't understand the assignment. Shailene Title didn't understand the assignment. Grant Smith, he understands his assignment. He's a closet white supremacist. He understands his assignment to cause confusion. But Shailene is very confused. Very confused. Because she seems to think that she's supporting equity, but the only thing she did while she was sitting on that commissioner's seat was be quiet about the MSO takeover. And I'm not making it up. The Boston Globe talked about the MSO takeover. The Boston Globe talked about it. How come the social justice chair, the previous social justice chair who was leading on equity never said nothing about it? Because she didn't understand the assignment. Or maybe she did. She understood it for Chris Crane and Forefront Ventures, the Colorado 6. But can't none of y'all niggas chump me, man. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You understand, when a man pay his dues, you understand, can't nobody take that away from me. That happened in the past. It's not something in the present that I'm trying to experience or in the future that I'm about to experience. It's something I already dealt with. And it's now that they're talking about, they want to hear about it, and everybody going state to state legalizing it. I think we should have something to say about it, right? I think our lifestyles, since you bringing them up to get legal, I think we should be able to have a platform to speak about what we went through. You understand me? And what we still going through, being the drug that the war's against. What else, y'all? This was supposed to be a happy occasion, man. Celebrating good energy, man. Good flow.
I think you started to bring it that direction when you talked about the fact
Let me
you highlighted a past that has created the present and the past that you experienced, but it's not part of the future and the direction that you build in. But I think one of the things, in order for us to move forward and not repeat the past, we got to make sure that when folks are saying they're about equity, we're holding them to the fire, and we're not just celebrating someone saying it, because that's what they've been saying. They've been saying that civil rights, 1960s, we're still fighting for basic rights. We're still trying to say lives even matter 50 years later. Why? Because we get too excited sometimes with some of the basic stuff and not really looking at, wait, is that really going to bring about the change? So I think there's a lot to be excited for. Like you said, the opportunities there, and holding folks, highlighting when folks are actually doing equity, when there's action, when there's dollars, when there's a paper trail tied to it. I think that's huge. And if that sheds a light on what other businesses can do, because we have some other businesses coming out the woodwork doing stuff. A lot of these are actually other equity businesses, but it's oftentimes because you know how to do, you know what equity is, you know what that looks like, so you know what to prop up. So we have a couple of businesses coming out who are doing real equity and backing it. And the white-owned businesses, they know it too. They understand the assignment, but they know which assignments are getting graded and which ones aren't.
Say that meant my point.
Funny.
Say that meant
they know which assignments are getting graded and which ones aren't.
Yes, but I think it's imperative that we continue to shine a light on this. Right here and right now in America, we got children still being locked up. They still charging 13-year-old, 14-year-olds as adults right now, every day in America, all over this place, you know? So, I'm not an activist, I'm not a do-gooder. You understand me? I'm somebody, a quote unquote victim of this. I see myself in these children. I see myself in these individuals who experience this. You understand? I have a kind of like just, I just is like I told you, this kind of like my closest I ever been and most relevant I ever been in a political topic. And this is like the closest I ever been to these activists. And that's just like, it's a lot of politics. You understand? It's a lot of politics and it's corporate activism. You understand? And, when you just, a lot of times, you just a little person, a victim of this stuff, you don't have a voice. You don't have a strong voice like the corporate activists do. You understand? So they run down on you, and try to run down on you. But I think this is a new breed of people, of individuals you have to deal with in politics. You can't brush this shit over. As you say, oh, cannabis is medical. There's over 1,000 medical reasons. I had no idea. You can't just open up like that because you owe us. You owe us big time. More than an apology. You owe us what you owe the Japanese when you bomb Hiroshima. You owe us what you owe the Vietnamese when you drop Agent Orange on them. You owe us what you owe Iraq after you blew up Iraq with all them bridges and shit. That's how you did us. That's how you did American citizens. That's how you did communities, projects. American citizens, it's a war on us. It was a war, nothing short of a war. So in terms of repairing it, we need nothing short of war aid for the war crimes we faced. Are you kidding me? You can't do what you did over here. Right here in American soil, you can't do that over there. You can't do that nowhere without it being considered a war crimes. You involving children? You're involving children in this for decades, for past this declared war. You can't have no war with no country and be over there killing their children and locking up their children, subjugating their children to chemical warfare. That's what the drugs is. Psychological warfare, the TV. You can't do that without some repercussions. So now that we're talking about it and we saying, okay, we need to ameliorate this harm, this war, you can't turn around and say the victims of this war looking for a handout. What? What are you talking about? We looking for justice. We looking for reparative action. Truth be told, none of us was alive when this started, when this real war started. Truth be told. So you're talking about something that has been going on. So where we at with this thing?
What are you excited for next?
I'm excited about having my foot in the door. I'm excited about expansion. I'm excited about being able to sell cannabis. You understand me? As a hustler, as a grinder, as somebody who put my life into this, you know, who risked my freedom for this, you know, to operate, to be able to operate in this space, you know, to be able to sell weed legally. You know, I'm excited for that. You know, I'm excited to be the next cannabis kingpin in this mother, you know. I'm excited for the validation, dude. You understand me? You know, like I told you, you be called since the 90s, you called everything for dealing with cannabis. Now everybody's saying how beautiful and, you know, the plan is and all these medical reasons, the validation. The reason why I go up in the dispensaries and I pull out my debit card is for validation, homie. I could go to the bank and get a little cash and go up in there. I go up in there with my debit card for validation because the banks say they're not involved in this, but the banks is involved. You understand me? You know, it's everything. Just, you know, from the illicit market to the legal market. I enjoy it all. I love it all. And I think it's a place for it all, you know. And I think we overall, the government, when it goes legal federally, needs to exercise some civility. So give us 10 years of not locking nobody up for weed. 20 years. All these years you saying you was wrong for locking us up for weed. How you going to attack the illicit market now with undercover federal task force? You understand? That's a little too premature if you ask me. Give us some time. You understand me? And there's enough money for everybody in it. You know, the fear mongering that you do to the legal industry, telling them to call a task force on the illicit industry. You know, I think if we exercising some real civility, you know, we need to stop the arrest, period. Take it off the books. It's oregano. You know, it's sage. It's just another herb. You understand me?
Mugwort.
So, huh?
Mugwort.
Mugwort. What else? Anything else?
It's the harvest season. Time to collect.
Time to collect on all the good energy you put out there, man. Any other questions? People asking questions?
Let's see. No, someone just highlighted in your last comment. Leno said, "No way to get into the legal market because they can't use the money they made in the legacy market. All of these are barriers to the entry and no path."
I mean, and there's a transition we need to have. Because before it was fully legal, it was decriminalized in Massachusetts. They had these things called caregivers, and you were supposed to be because they didn't have anything opened up. You were supposed to be able to operate.
They still have caregivers now.
Yeah, you were still supposed to be able to operate. You know, so we need to put our minds together because if it's really not about locking folks up, then there needs to be a way that we can work with the illicit market. You understand me? And it's not just illicit, like You just a small guy, you a small fan. You got a couple grand. You want to drop a couple grand on something for the weekend, whatever you call it. You might have to drop maybe the weekend warrior license or something, yada yada yada, 30 grand, $60,000, $100,000, whatever investment, whatever they make it. Just make an avenue so we can get in. You understand? And and purchase a license for the weekend and sell some weed. You understand? We have to figure out how everybody can operate, and I just think it's a bad thing to do, Massachusetts, to follow Colorado and to follow California with these task force after we already legalized. It's not smart, and it's more victimization of the victims of this war. Because who you hitting up? The same folks, You're arresting the same folks. Come on, man. So
without ever defragging how they even profiled and created the perception within training for our enforcement as to who are the quote unquote criminals, when you have marijuana arrests being the majority of arrests.
And I think that's even before you hand out even $1, y'all should have did that.
Yep.
Before you handed out $1, before you handed out an equity program, there needs to be massive education across America about what actually happened to Black folks and brown folks with this thing. There needs to be massive education. So then when you start the equity programs, you don't have people calling us a handout. Oh, that's a handout. Oh, he looking for a handout. They mad as dog shit. Scheming by the equity program, mad because they think somebody else getting an opportunity that they not getting. But they wasn't mad that you was getting arrested. They wasn't mad about your secret indictments with their white ass. You know what I'm saying? Talking about this a handout. Mass incarceration was a handout. Mass incarceration was a handout. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. I don't have no sympathy for people crying about their privilege, dude. I'm getting secret indictments in 2016 when it's legal for everybody in Massachusetts. It's supposed to be legal. 2016, I had my caregiver's license and everything. Had a small little community to operate in. I get a secret indictment. Well, I know people who still got their clubs from 2016, who had clubs older than 2016, still thriving today. So I'm not mad. I'm just saying it needs to be space for everybody, and it's just not something I could do, you understand me, with a family. And it's just not something I would want to have something to do with, you understand me, because it's not enforced. It's not enforced legally. I mean, it's not enforced, fairly. That's what makes, you call it law, but that's a loose terminology of the word, because laws, this is a law. Everybody, don't matter what political party, don't matter what color you is, everybody got to respond to gravity the same. Why? Because that's a law. That's a real law. Laws treat everybody the same. A real law is impartial. So when you see that a law has partiality, you understand me, or is not exercising impartiality, it's not, it's an unjust law. And that's what we're talking about. You understand? White folks who talking about this is a handout. You understand? But
Chief said, appreciate you for leading the way and being bold and unafraid to support true equity.
Thank you, King. Likewise, my brother opening up, doing this thing. Our next thing, we need to have a trade or we need
That's why you were saying Yamba earlier.
Yeah. Oh, Yamba.
His Yamba, but this is Yamba.
Yamba. Okay, Yamba. That's why I had Yamba. Check out Yamna and Yamba, my brothers. Yeah, that's right. That's why I was saying Yamba, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm super faded, man. Any more questions? And I finally finished that cigar. How long we was on this joint?
We've been on for a hot second.
A little over an hour. Yeah. So the burn. So to check out the Yamna, this shit burn good, burn strong, good green. Over an hour burn.
This is on the package.
Yeah, show the Yamna package. Let me show this. I don't get any money for these, but I like to support good stuff when people doing good things in the community. I think it's good for all of us. I'm just a pothead, so I like to support the community, and I like to make money off the community too. That's just what it's supposed to be. For those who, I can't even get these damn things open.
I was gonna say why, but no, I don't think I'm gonna say why in the context of you not opening.
Because my hands is.
They successfully made it childproof, I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess so for all of y'all, it would be the do this. It did it again. I don't know how to do it. Yeah.
I think it's the internet connection keeps pausing. Just leave it.
Any more questions? Any more ting and them? Thank y'all for joining me. Celebrate me. What's it stopped again.
It's still on. It's the connection pauses and it comes in and out on that one.
Yeah, man. So yeah, you know, it's balance. It's balance, y'all.
Let the CCC know that their packaging is childproof.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just like I say, you know, when you want to celebrate, you want to do something for yourself, however you do it. Sometimes I don't like always twisting. I think like, you know, to me, pre-rolls is going to be the future. You know, I like twisting up loose herb. That's fine. But I also like, you know, being able to open up a pack, you know, and opening up a pack and being able to just to get to it, you know, without all of that. But that's what's up, man. I've been on here long enough. Anything?
Yeah. You get your final shout out?
So what I really want to do is I want to continue to do this, maybe with some other folks that do this. My plan wasn't to be a public person per se in this fashion, but I think this is important. I think we need to highlight companies that's doing equity, and I think we need to be hitting up companies that's not doing equity, like, hey, you know, what's up? What can we do? How can we work with you? And I think that'll open up opportunities for other people in social equity, economic empowerment, individuals. So, you know, the key is unity. You understand me? On every, nobody made it. I haven't made it any place. The work just started. You understand me? And we have to be strong, community minded. You know, we can't get into these places and isolate ourselves and think, you know, that's how we should be. So, man, it's just a privilege just to be a part of this, you know, be a part of the cannabis industry, to be a part of social equity, economic empowerment. You can't even, it's people with money who can't even get in this industry. You know, it's a strange alchemy of money, connections, time, and you got real estate, you got to have all these other things in place to be able to privilege, you know, but it's destined for me. You know, I didn't know it was destined for me at 13 and 14 years old. But I know even every time I got arrested, I still had to smoke. You know, I ain't had no license. I still had to smoke and drive. You know, it's just a part of, it was always been a part of my alchemy. You know, now I'm seeing it's because of the trauma. A lot of people self-medicate. You understand? There's 50 million reasons to use cannabis. You know, but that be that. I think you said that one was still running though.
No, I closed that.
That be that, man. I'm done, y'all. I had a good time. Let's start. If anybody want to do these, you know, hit me up. And you know, maybe I'll partner with you in doing them, or maybe you could just do them yourself, maybe from Mass Mother Mary or whatever have you. But I think we need to continue to track equity, you know, for my sake, for your sake, for all of our sakes. I think we need to continue to, you know, connect on this topic of equity and push it forward. What else? Nothing? Anything? You said somebody else said something?
It's more a topic for probably some equity minutes. But
go ahead. What?
What is the outstate people coming into Mass and living in an area affected by the war on drugs, then getting into the program like they were victimized by the war on drugs? I mean,
there's so many things, but there's so many things. Check out what Boston is doing. I got I'm in Stoughton. They call me undercover task force. the Boston, I think
drug unit.
What was they name?
Task Force Unit
1 AB, whatever. I like to call them names. But the Boston Task for Drug Unit.
Jamaica Plain.
Yeah, they called me to a park out in Boston, to a children's park. I didn't know the park. They knew it was a children's park. They called me to a children's park out in Boston to buy weed from me, dude. After I told this dude several times, like, nah, I don't even know who you are. So one time he called me with this sad sob story and all this other shit. But I didn't tell a story to go into that. What else I doing?
Folks coming from out of state.
Oh yeah. So now, so I got arrested in Boston. I'm in the social equity program. I'm open up in Boston because if you're not from Boston, you can't open up in Boston. But I got arrested in Boston. They called me to Boston to arrest my ass in Boston for weed. You understand me? So there's a lot of things that's not, that's not on the up and up.
The loopholes are always there, and the loopholes work to exclude many and include the exclusive.
Yeah.
So,
yep. You guys got to watch out, man. You really got to watch out, man. I can't do your thinking for you, but you gotta measure it. You understand me? You got to measure it and watch out. Like, look what was going on in Cambridge with this moratorium, the extension of the moratorium. You know who got licenses during the moratorium? One economic empowerment person got a license during the 2 years. Kobe didn't get his in 2 years?
Not in Cambridge.
No. I'm talking about overall.
Oh, the state of Massachusetts.
The state of Massachusetts.
That's the priority period. That wasn't a moratorium.
During the priority period, what is the moratorium? The moratorium is a priority period, right? It's a moratorium. It's the same thing. During the priority period, 2 year priority period, one black person got a license in the equity program. You know who got licenses? MSOs. hundreds of MSO licenses. Hundreds of out of state MSOs got licenses, and the social justice chair said nothing at the time. I'm not talking about the social justice chair now. I'm talking about the previous social justice chair, Shailene Title. During the priority period, 2 year priority period, one economic empowerment person got licensed. Hundreds of MSOs got licenses through an illegal priority period. Shailene says nothing, but she's all up in Cambridge ass about Rev clinics,
their moratorium,
who actually qualified to open up. Says legislation. You understand me? Legislation said people in the equity program, and they said RMDs could open up during priority. They opened up another priority period for MSOs, gave them their own equity priority period in Massachusetts, and nobody said nothing. All these folks leading on equity said nothing. So that's what it's about for me, man. But I was scratching my head. She's screaming up and down, jumping up and down for a priority period to extend in Cambridge for what? Who got licenses in Cambridge? Who got licenses in Massachusetts? For
how much did it cost the people, the equity people in Cambridge trying to open up? How much did it cost them?
Yeah.
How much did that moratorium?
You know who's going to get licenses during the moratorium? More MSOs, like cookies, opening up. And all these folks. Shout out these folks. I ain't trying to start no drama, but that's what it is, dude. You use the equity thing. You understand? And we just were supposed to be too stupid and too upward, too downward mobile, I guess, to be able to mount an attack or do something about it, which we still haven't. So maybe you was right about that, because we still haven't defended our position in court about what happened to us. So on that note, on
that note right there. So
peace. Love, peace, and hair grease. Yeah. Peace. What's good? What's going on? Good, beautiful.